Ladies and gentlemen, Chapter 3 is finally out, and I'm going to make some tiny sculptures to celebrate. The key word here is tiny, because that's the only thing that differentiates me from every other clay YouTuber who has milked this game for content. I played Poppy Playtime once, and I only lasted 10 minutes before I got severe motion sickness because I'm literally 80 years old. So yeah, I don't really know much about it, but I do have a younger brother who likes this game, and I believe that makes me qualified. I'm gonna make the gas mask from the teaser, and I want it to be open on the other side. So I'm crumpling up some aluminum foil in the shape of a skull. I flattened some red clay, and I'm covering one side of the foil with it to create the base. The nose area of the mask is basically just a slanted triangle. And I'm smoothing it out, but I'm not worried about making it look good because the majority of it will be covered up later. As for the eye holes, I'm cutting out some circles towards the top. I baked this shell, and now all I have to do is simply remove the foil. Right? How hard could it be? Man, this humbled me to a degree I didn't know was possible. For the life of me, I could not get this thing out. I'm not sure how all the professional clay sculptors do it. I have never felt more imposter syndrome than in this moment. Anyways, check out my polymer clay courses if you want to learn to sculpt as good as me. It took me a bit, but I had the bright idea to push through the eye holes. And I finally got all the foil out without damaging the mask at all, because I'm talented like that. And yes, the inside is a mess. I was planning on filling it all in to make it smooth, but it was 3 AM, so I had the even better idea of not doing that. No one will look at this side anyway because I won't show it to you. Listen, I know this doesn't look like much right now, and that's exactly what I'm thinking too, but I'm trusting the process and I need you to do the same thing. I've been sculpting for 10 years. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. Moving on, I'm rolling out some thin ropes of the same clay to make the eye holes raised. Now for the middle piece, I flattened a bit of blue clay into a circle. I drew a couple of lines on the outside, and with dotting tools, I'm making indents to create the inner shape. I cut out some thick yellow circles and some thin blue ones to go with them. And I'm putting the two together to make what I assume are cartridges. And I added these to the sides of the mask. And now for the straps, I'm flattening some gray clay and cutting out 2 thin strips. I added a little yellow circle to the ends of each strap. And then I baked the mask in the oven. And now to imitate what I can only assume is ketchup. I'm going to use paint to do this, but first I'm folding a piece of washi tape in half, and I'm going to use this as a shield to protect the rest of the mask. Then I dipped a paintbrush in some red acrylic paint and splattered it everywhere except the areas I was aiming for. After 7 minutes of doing this, I finally managed to get a few spots of paint on the clay. Some of these spots were too big, so I let it dry, and then I used my craft knife to scrape off some of the paint. And as a finishing touch, I added some satin glaze to the entire piece. I know Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy aren't exclusive to Chapter 3, but they're iconic and I'd be very sad if I didn't get to sculpt them. And I'm already sad as it is, so I'm not going to pass up this opportunity. The two of them are almost identical apart from some minor differences. So I'm going to follow the same process for both. And I'm starting by sculpting their heart-shaped heads and blending them in with their torsos. I'm making these at such a small scale that their lanky arms and legs will probably snap off, so to prevent that, I'm using little bits of wire. I'm bending a few of them to give their arms a distinct shape and a little bit of character. And now I can cover them with clay. I stabbed the limbs into each body. And then I quickly baked the two for 15 minutes so that I can grab them without destroying anything with my giant human fingers. A few years ago, I sculpted a tiny Elmo.
Balsamic vinegar?
And he has similar textured fur as Huggy Wuggy, so I'm going to use that same technique here. I have some more of that pink and blue clay that I made the bodies out of, and I'm mixing each of them with liquid clay to get a spreadable consistency. So that this doesn't get too messy, I'm working on one part at a time. And in between, I'm pre-baking the fur with my heat gun so that the finished parts become solid. Now that they both have fur, I can move on to the little details, and I'm starting with their eyes. Well, sort of, I'm only adding the white part for right now. I'm going to add the pupils last so that I can have a dramatic reveal. And to be honest, I'm not so sure that the eyes are in the right place because without the pupils, they're just white circles. So no matter which way this goes, it'll be a dramatic reveal. Anyways, they both have a little bow, so I'm using some blue clay to make two cute little bow ties. For the hands and feet, I'm cutting triangles out of little circles of yellow clay to get a Pac-Man shape. And then I'm making the edges straight. And to help everything really come together, I'm using the leftover fur mixture to cover up the seams where the arms and hands meet. Now for their adorable Ronald McDonald smiles. I'm rolling out a snake of red clay really thin and folding it in half. And I added some liquid clay to their heads to help the mouths stick. And now for the finale. This was supposed to be a big moment for me, but I couldn't get the little dots of black clay to be small enough, so I had to repeat this over and over with smaller pupils each time. But I feel like I got them okay in the end. Now that Huggy Wuggy is done, all that's left is to give Kissy Missy a set of lashes. And after baking the two, I coated them with satin glaze so that they don't look so dull.